Hello everybody, my name's Calling Me Crazy. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. I got a special guest today, and I mentioned him a few videos ago, if you guys recall maybe. Some of you might have come over from his channel before, and that's awesome to see, and I'm going to let him present himself here.
Hello, Call Me Crazy viewers. My name is LoadedBuggy.
Yeah, we got Buggy here. You guys are excited, I bet, maybe. You got your toes twiddling. So we're doing kind of like a little collaboration here, and he's going to have a video posted on his channel. I'll have it linked down below along with just the channel link as well. If you guys want to check that out once that goes live and once this video goes live. And so we're going to do kind of a little bit of a questionnaire, I would say. And I got some questions for Buggy here. And we're going to be talking about creative outlets. So I was curious to know, are there any other outlets that you have for your creativeness besides YouTube that you do throughout your day?
Yeah, great question. I mean, obviously YouTube is probably the biggest one for me. I think creative outlets are. I think there's like a certain connotation that it's something that you have to do proactively yourself, like building something with your hands or whatever it may be. But for me, it kind of varies because often I tend to feel creative whenever I'm consuming content, and um, often I feel the most creative whenever I'm reading books, and I read books a lot more nowadays than I used to. So I would say that reading is probably one of my biggest quote unquote creative outlets, because I read a lot of fantasy, but it works my brain out a bit while I'm also being entertained. I think that's a really beneficial thing for me because it just kind of exercises my brain a bit. But I also do a fair bit of writing on the side. Just general scripting for potential videos, or just writing out thoughts, or just writing out topics for things that are completely unrelated to my YouTube channel. Often whatever I'm doing writing, like on my laptop or something, it has nothing to do with my YouTube channel. It's just things that I've thought about, topics that I wanted to just write down my thoughts on. I have multiple scripts on like long form scripted deep dives into video games that I've done that are likely never going to see the light of day, but they're there, and it's just one thing that I do. I also like I say woodworking, but I like woodworking to a degree, and what I mean is just kind of building things. Like I built my wife a vanity
Oh,
for Christmas one year, because she does her hair a lot because she's African American, and her hair changes monthly. It could be
gotcha.
curly one day and straight the next day.
Hmm.
So she spends a lot of time in front of a vanity. So I built that for her, and I've built some other things along the way too. But I would say those two things are probably the areas that I feel the most creative. One that exercises my brain, and one that exercises, like, my hands and fine tuning.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's way different from me. I do like a lot of art. I used to do like a crazy amount on my Instagram, but I've kind of taken a pause from that for a while. I'd usually do like digital drawing, and then I obviously one of my jobs is I do an after school program, and I do a lot of coding. And from things I've learned from school, I did a computer science degree, so a lot of coding has like I would say like a creative outlook on it. The way you type, the way you make your code, and then obviously the way you teach it as well is you got to get creative with it. So and be engaging. So that's kind of like my day to day is definitely part of that. That's another outlet I think I have as well. So those are interesting. Reading books. I feel like I'm like the the worst person at reading books, but when I do find a book that's like really engaging for me, I stick with that book, and I remember it very well. I can remember maybe a couple I've read throughout school that I'm just like, these are good books that captivated me and made me think about just philosophy and life and in general.
Yeah, man, not every book is created equal. I know a lot of people, like, there's readers out there that just read anything and everything, and I'm not one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a total mood reader. I have to be feeling the book that I'm reading, otherwise I'm not going to retain anything. So I'm much like you when it comes to that.
Yeah, it takes me. It's hard for me to get into books, but let's see. I got another question here. So, where do you get your ideas for your topics that aren't from comments or emails? Do you have like a regimen? I mean, you said you do write down a lot of notes throughout your day. Where, at what time, like, what are you doing during those times? I would say.
I would say it's kind of like a shower thoughts type of thing for me, where I'll just have a thought for a video title. It won't even be a full-blown topic. It'll just be a video title. And so I'll jot that down in my phone, or I walk around with a like a little mini composition notebook thing you can get like at the dollar store. I'll keep those in my pocket or my backpack. And I'll just write down whatever I thought of. If I think it's even a smidge of an idea, if it's just a mustard seed of an idea, I'll write it down so I don't forget it, and then I can revisit it and kind of flesh it out and see if it will work as a video. So often it's kind of shower thoughts things, but I know especially in the early days, whenever I started with like my first few videos, um, I would just be playing games or watching a show or something like that, and something would occur or something would be said in a game or a show, and I would think, how is that applicable, and how can I talk about that in the form of a commentary? Like I think I did one with a Black Ops 2 video early on in my my YouTube career, where I had someone who was chasing me around a corner, and that just kind of lit a light bulb about me talking about how I had to chase my wife for us to even consider to start dating. So it's really random for me. I don't have like any brainstorming ideas, like, or set aside time to brainstorm. But it's really just as things come to me, as sentences come to me. Whenever I read things, if I see something that I think might be an interesting topic to talk about in a video, I'll write it down. So I'm always just writing things, and I have a notebook full of topics that I may never use because they're not quite up to par, or I don't have enough thoughts on the topic that I would be able to turn into a video. But I never not write something down whenever I think of it, because if I don't write it down, I'll lose it.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's hard to retain those thoughts. I feel like I have like a never-ending cycle of like the same thought coming back to me maybe like 3 or 4 times, especially if it's something important. And eventually I'm like, I just got to write it down. Otherwise, it's going to loop back, and it's really going to come at a bad time. So I get the writing down portion. Yeah. I mean, I kind of mentioned earlier before we even recorded, I have sticky notes on my desk. I write a lot of sticky notes. And then I also have I use a notes app on my phone just to write notes. I feel like it's a little easier for me to just type them instead of pulling out a pen. Because usually my thoughts come from videos, or like 4 videos, while I'm driving at Domino's, since that's my other job. And you don't really have a lot of brain power getting used while just driving all the time. So I have a lot of free thoughts that just pop in and out of my head while I'm driving, and those are very good times for me to write down some ideas that I just come up with just by being outside and doing that. And also like music. I think like music really plays into a good part of my creativeness, especially when I draw. I think most of my drawings are inspired by songs I listen to or artists, and sometimes it could be a really good jam, or it's just the title of a song sounds amazing, or even just the album cover. I'm like, wow, that's a cool album cover, and I immediately already think of ways I can incorporate that into something I want to draw. It's pretty fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I was thinking, there's a lot of people I see that work maybe in like corporate or have really big jobs and duties that don't seem the most entertaining. Obviously, like creating YouTube videos is probably the closest you can get to being your own entertainment outlet, I would say. Like that's definitely like a easy reach, and I would say that it takes a lot sometimes to make those videos and put them out and try to squeeze out some creative juices. But do you believe that anyone can be creative or incorporate an artistic perspective to their life, even if they're working a cubicle job or some type of big corporate job in their life?
I absolutely do, because I'm one of those people that I think there's like 2 different types of brains. There's the creative mind, and then there's the numbers mind, and like the analytical mind. And I'm significantly more analytical. Like I don't have necessarily a big creative artistic brain that's always churning original ideas out. Like often whatever I think about like topics for my channel, it's being inspired by something else or someone else or whatever, or it's just a topic that's been talked about that I can talk about and express my thoughts. So I think anybody and everyone can be creative in their own way. It just doesn't always look the same. Like creative for you is completely different as it is for me, as we've discussed in this very video, where you lean more into art and drawing and music, and I lean more into reading, writing, and construction. And I think that just kind of plays to our personal strengths. You're creative in a way that makes sense within your brain, but that's not any less creative than anyone else. So I think regardless of circumstances, you can be creative, but it just might not look the same as somebody else. And I think that's an important thing to the important distinction.
I think so too. I think people need to have some type of fun in their life to where they believe they can be creative, and I think that's just like a hard thing to do, especially from computer science. Like my standpoint, when I was in school, a lot of my classmates were they really struggled like in my department because I had like a subset of art in my degree where they were in the same class as me, but they're maybe like just data science, so they're all about numbers, and they're like, I don't know how to make a project sound so creative and come up with all these ideas. And I'm like, well, let me show you. Let me give you ways to come up with some ideas, and it doesn't have to be the same way I do it. Just food for thought, a little brainstormer, or just places you can look that maybe are more intriguing to you. I think that's something that I think people sometimes need to hear, and have just more fun at your job. Maybe, you got some type of Friday special that you do, or something like that that spices things up just a bit and gets the gears going. But that's pretty much all I had for this video. And I appreciate you, Buggy, for being here. And if you guys want to go check out the video we made together on his channel, I'll have it in the description again. And if there's any last words you want to say, Buggy, you can go ahead.
Yeah, just thanks for having me on, Colin. I enjoyed our conversation, enjoyed the videos we made together, and I look forward to making more in the future. Any of my viewers who are watching this video and have not yet clicked subscribe on Colin's channel, definitely do that. You won't be disappointed. If you enjoy my videos, you'll definitely enjoy his. So again, thanks for having me on, Colin.
Yeah, no problem. It's been great. And if you guys want to leave a comment down below and have your thoughts on this video or any other videos in the future, you can go ahead and do so, or you can leave an email in the description as well if you have a question you want to specifically ask me. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!